What do you think would happen if you built an entire fan base that idolizes nothing but looks and then suddenly you became ugly? Well, that is exactly what is happening to Clavicular, a streamer who built his entire career around doing anything possible to look better. But ironically, after his recent attempts to look better, even with surgery, his appearance has taken a sharp decline, leading to his audience and the rest of the internet now bullying him for the only thing he got popular for.
Chop, just tip $2. Bro looks like Family Guy, it's over Clav, you are a joke. Dylan Latham took your legacy, it's over Chud Boy, you're Looksmaxxing.
I hate this is the worst job ever.
But to understand how Clavicular ended up with a fan base that turned on him the second his looks changed, we first have to understand how he became famous in the first place. Before Clav became a popular streamer, he had already spent years obsessed with looksmaxxing. And for those who don't know what that is, looksmaxxing is basically the idea that you can improve every part of your appearance to make your life better. Whether that means going to the gym, getting leaner, or changing your haircut, these are all normal things that can help someone feel better about their appearance. And if you look good enough, you'll be rewarded with an edit on TikTok. And like I said, while improving yourself is a good thing, the problem with the looksmaxxing mindset is that it slowly turns into obsessing over every tiny flaw and feeling like you need to completely change yourself just to be attractive to other people. And in the case of Clavicular, that is exactly what happened. Because while most people would stop at trying to get better in shape or improve their style, Clav became obsessed with taking it as far as possible, which is how he gained an audience. Doing reckless things just to become more attractive became his entire brand, whether that was taking illegal substances, hurting his own face with tools that I 100% can't show on YouTube, contemplating the idea of height surgery even though he's already around like 6'1".
People will come up to me, they'll say, oh, well, 6'2", you know, that's already very tall. But in terms of percentiles, it's only 91st percentile, right? 6'6", we get to 99th.
And a list of other things that he would try to do to become attractive. And because at the time, no one else was really doing this the way he was pushed into the mainstream. Tons of clips of him started to go viral on most platforms, and a lot of people were intrigued with his mindset. So intrigued that the New York Times actually did 2 pieces about him on their website. One being called Handsome at Any Cost, and the other piece being a podcast titled Injections, Bone Hammering, and the Pursuit of Peak Male Beauty. So clearly, the guy was interesting. And once he started streaming, he quickly found a way to turn that obsession with looks into actual content. His IRL streams would mostly consist of him going out in public and flexing his appearance, trying to mog people around him, which is basically short for comparing his looks to random strangers. And in some cases, you would even have fans coming up to him and asking him to rate them, which was kinda awkward.
And I'm like known in Orlando as like the Asian mogger. I would have the honor if you could verify me as the Orlando Asian mogger.
Bro.
Honor is mine.
I don't know. You guys are kind of cringe, bro. Just gonna be real, you know?
Alright, y'all have a good one.
Oh my lord, insanely brutal. But yeah, you guys get the gist. For some reason, people actually enjoyed watching this content. And as the clip started getting posted around, Clav began gaining a real audience. He started getting invited to bigger streams like Aiden Ross and Neon. He started doing tons of different podcasts and overall just getting way more attention.
Why don't you rate me and Logan?
Oh, people love the rating thing. Okay, sure.
Don't be biased, dude.
No, I won't be biased. You don't have to worry about that. I'd probably rate you maybe a 3.75. I'm gonna say 6.5.
Not even a 7.
But as we've seen many times before, as soon as someone starts to get more attention, that's when things start to go downhill. And like clockwork, that is when it started happening to Clavicular. Because over the next few months, Clav's online presence would turn into a drama alert headline. He would get arrested, end up in the hospital after apparently overdosing on stream, running over somebody with his Cybertruck, and somehow even getting himself in an alligator shooting. Yeah, it was a little bit insane. But out of everything that happened to him during that stretch of time, there's one thing that ended up mattering more than the rest, and that was after he had apparently overdosed, he had made the decision to actually get clean, which meant he had to cut off the steroids he had been reportedly taking since he was 14. And in normal circumstances, obviously that would be a good thing. However, for Clav, not so much, because when your brand is built on looking a certain way, when you stop looking that way, the audience is gonna call it out, which is why posts on Twitter of Clavicular's physique transformation started going viral, because it highlighted a massive difference of what he looked like from when he first first started streaming to how he looks right now. A tweet from a Twitter account named Kira Won't Miss says, clavicular transformation after stopping steroids to regain fertility. And you can clearly see there's been a massive difference. Like, my God, steroids really do work wonders, because holy. And just for reference, this post got 9.9 million views and 42,000 likes. And if you thought people in the comments showed him any empathy, you were completely wrong. With people in the comments saying he went from looking like Hulk Hogan to Quagmire in record time. And obviously, every other comment on this page is completely cooking him. Like, I don't think I saw a positive comment defending him at all. But if you thought the comments were bad or the way that he looked was bad, things were about to get a lot worse. Because although his physique may look a bit deteriorated here, he wasn't done transforming yet. Because as I stated earlier, the goal of looksmaxxing is to look the best you possibly can. And even when you look perfectly fine, the obsession takes over and you always feel like you need to somehow be more attractive. And this clip right here is an example of how somebody's mind can justify it.
So when people come on and they say, oh, Clav, you're insane for getting surgery. You're insane for doing these anabolics. Well, at least in 5 years, whether I am a Frank Tufano botch job or the next Giga Chad, at least I could say that I gave something my all. While you sit there and type your comment on my Instagram reel from your shitty wage job, at least I tried. At least I dedicated myself to the craft and was willing to do whatever it takes.
So once again, in this clip, he thinks because he's at least trying to look better, that justifies any type of surgery or harmful thing that he may do to his body, because it's all in the goal of looking better. Completely delusional. But more importantly from this clip, I want you guys to remember this because it sets up perfectly what happens next. Because after this, Clavicular did change the way he looked. He got a nose job, and the response from his audience so far has been terrible to say the least. Now for starters, I think the fact that he actually streamed his nose job surgery live for like 2 hours is already crazy enough, and it actually wound up making headlines. But shortly after that, after he was initially done the surgery, pictures began to surface of what he looked like post-op in the wheelchair. And once again, he was now being clowned online for his fall from grace physique-wise, and the cherry on top was him being temporarily wheelchair bound. Same energy. Oh, brother. But the real embarrassment of this nose job wouldn't come until a couple weeks later, after Clavicular would start streaming again, for people to notice his nose job didn't look right. After Clav eventually took the nose bandages off and showed his new nose slash face on stream, the internet exploded because people thought his surgery was botched.
Way too small? You're retarded. You're retarded. Are you and everyone in the chat? You're retarded. Zygoless, yeah, look at these copers, bro. They don't know. They don't know. I actually am mogging, bro. I'm mogging hard, dude. That's all there is fucking to it. Yeah, I look Chad. I look Chad. Dude, I look Chad.
For reference, these are some side-by-side images of what Clavicular looks like without surgery and then with surgery. And clearly, there's a night and day difference. And everyone in this comment section is absolutely cooking him because, I mean, he actually looks better without the surgery. I don't know why he got it. This is also a side-by-side of what his nose looks like before surgery and after surgery. And as you can see, his nose looks better before surgery. However, it seems like in every clip you see him in, he's trying to convince himself and cope that he looks better now than what he did before. Even though the entire internet is telling him, only so many times you can tell yourself that you're mogging before you start to realize you're not mogging. Bro, I genuinely feel bad. He's trying to convince himself. Nah, it just looks like tragic. I thought this was edited LMAO. God, he looks botched. Yeah, these comments are brutal. And I also forgot to mention that all of these Clavicular Twitter posts went mega viral, with some of them hitting 34 million views. Because there's just something so ironic about someone who constantly tells people that they look like trash to get a taste of their own medicine by the entire internet.
Miami just tipped $3. Clavicular, I hope you are enjoying your new nose. I designed it to look like Gandhi. One question, why go to a butt doctor for a nose job? Giga Jester.
I can't. I do not even want to stream.
And obviously, there is a chance that he can just be acting sad and donation baiting so people can donate money to use text-to-speech. However, when you look at his face in some of these clips, it does look like he's doing deep introspection on the chance that he did make a mistake getting a nose job. And it's gotten to the point now to where him being on stream is honestly just embarrassing. Whether he's getting mogged on stream now by random fans because he looks, well, different now, to him getting rejected by random women.
Clavicular. Don't look me up though. On Google. No, I could.
Are you famous?
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Well, have a good time in Paris. I hope you will enjoy it.
All right, take care of yourself.
And him trying to completely cope online after getting rejected by saying girls from the US are a lot more attractive than EU simply because the gene pool was devastated during World War II. All the good genes died in war while the physically unfit stayed back and reproduced. So I'm going to offer my Looksmaxxing code 50% off to the French because not only do they need it, but they also can't afford it at a full ticket.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And once again, he's saying all of this simply because he got rejected on stream. So yeah, he has an insane ego. But personally, I think the worst clip that's come out since he got the nose job has been him trying to explain why he got it to 2 other streamers. Because during this conversation, you really see the difference in mindsets between someone in the Looksmaxxing community versus 2 people who aren't. And as the conversation progresses, you can see how frustrated Clavicular gets because he's talking to 2 normal people who aren't super obsessed with their looks enough to get a nose job. And yeah, it's just great.
So what made you get the Michael Jackson surgery nose?
Well, I had a super wide ailer base. Like my nostrils were really bad. Like everyone is forgetting. Like my nose was one of my worst.
So you nose farming?
What?
He nose farming.
Yeah, so I made my nose good, and now
He nose matching.
you know what I'm saying?
He said he wanna
What do
look
you
like
think
a
about
bad
pla-
bitch. He wanna look like a bad bitch.
What do you think about plastic surgery?
He knows.
Gay.
You're nose fishing.
Gay?
For sure.
Well, if it gets you more girls, how's it get?
Because a grown man shouldn't be worried about. It should not get any surgery towards anything in his body.
What should a grown man be worried about?
If a woman have your child, she's gonna think their nose is gonna be like that, and it's not.
Catfish, you catfishing bitch.
Nose fishing.
There's going to be no child to begin with if your nose looks too wide, you know what I mean?
He just said he doesn't think there will be a child anyway if your nose is too big, meaning no woman would want to have kids with him if his nose stayed the same as it did before, even though the entire internet thought he looked better before than he does now. This is delusion.
So it's like you have to Looksmaxx in order to
That's
find
not
a
true.
partner. Yes.
I'm pretty sure you have when you got a wide nose.
I have because I'm famous as fuck and I have everything else.
So there was a point
You
getting
know
a
what
nose
I'm
in.
saying? So now I'm like even better.
Nah, you got a nose edit.
The worst part is that he genuinely looked bothered and upset that they just weren't understanding you need a better nose to have kids, which you don't, by the way. So yeah, this whole clavicular nose job Looksmaxxing stuff is the result of hyper focusing on the way you look versus personality maxing, because maybe if he was a better person, the internet wouldn't be laughing at him.